Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here, and today I think we have the final regular tier changes that happen every 15 days for Pokemon Sword and Shield. After this, I believe we're going back to our 3-month usual type of thing. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about these. If you guys enjoy this type of video, feel free to leave a like. And it's not really, a visually stimulating type of video. It's one of those that you just put on in the background when you're exercising or eating or doing work or whatever you're doing. And just listen, but feel free to give your thoughts. And I also want to just do a short little comparison between last month and this month and stuff like that. So before we even get into these usage tier stats, let's look at the usage for this. So the only main difference we saw actually is that Zapdos and Regieleki went back up to the OU tier. So this is this current one. And the other thing we saw is that because Pheromosa is now banned, Heatran has snuck up into top 10. The rest stayed exactly the same. In fact, this is the beginning of December. And at Pheromosa here, the rest were all there. Urshifu crept up past Clefable. Well, yeah, way past Clefable. Same thing with Magearna. But besides that, everything else stayed there. And then you see on 11 and 12, Zapdos and Heatran changed places. Zapdos is now number 11, and Heatran is now number 12. So for the most part, very similar. You got your good all around, I'm going to destroy every Pokemon because I have the perfect moveset, Cinderace over there. Defensive or Scarflando, or Urshifu obviously doing Urshifu things, being suspect. Probably not going to be an OU for that much longer. And then you have Magearna moving up, Specs, Calm Mindsets. I think this month's going to be suspect tested right after Urshifu. Clef moving down a bit. I wonder if that has to do with the fact that every Pokemon in top 10 can beat Clefable. But I also think it has to do with the fact that it's, in terms of utility, I'm liking Feeny more than Clef lately. At least in terms, not necessarily utility. Clef beats everything in terms of utility, right? Knock off Thunder Waves, reliable recovery, Stealth Rock, whatever it wants to do. But in terms of switching for Urshifu and beating these two, I prefer Feeny over it. That's my personal opinion though. And then we see Zapdos creeping into OU, same thing with Regieleki. Just to explain Regieleki, it's super popular on dual screen teams. It's basically the premier dual screener, and it also provides rapid spin support and can explode or volt switch. So it's faster than Tapu Koko. While it cannot taunt, it can boom to get on out of there after getting up the hazards. And again, it can volt switch if it needs to run that, or it can boom in front of ground types. I also think that in terms of using it recently as well, that Regieleki is really still really good. And I know a lot of us memed with it and used Trick Ring Target, Klefki, and Zoroark. And that's not necessarily a meme, but it's also very predictable. I recently used the other day Trick Darmanitan with Ring Target. And you got to think about the way Darmanitan works, right? Darmanitan almost always lures in the same Pokemon. It's going to be, if it's not Toxapex, it's going to be a Hippowdon, a Swampert, a Landers. So being able to trick them a ring target, and then it's such a great partner for Regieleki. I didn't even realize how good it was until I just decided to go off on a whim and change it during live. But I do think it's still such a great offensive threat. And if Urshifu gets banned, that's going to be one step, that's one thing less that offense has to deal with this thing in terms of priority. Zapdos also moved up to OU. I saw a lot of Regieleki plus Zapdos squads. The agility bulk up set, sub bulk up as well. Saw a bit of Banded being ran too. I mean, it makes sense when Landorus is number 1 in the tier. And it gives Intimidate and it gives the Defiant Rays too. From RUBL to UU, we have Kyurem. I think that's another Pokemon that will slowly but surely sneak up to the OU tier. But if you look at UU up here, Salamence, Crocodile. Salamence has to outrage a Draco to knock it out. Crocodile is outsped and killed. Como is outsped and killed. Zero doesn't kill it with close combat and dies back to Draco. Bullet Punch. Ice Beam does a ton of Celesteela. Blaziken got banned. Regieleki actually was number 8 in usage, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's a combination of dual screens plus specs. I know it's really good. And Freeze Dry checks Ozzy, so it makes sense why it would move up in the tier, especially just based on the usage overall of the tier itself. Then we have from P to UU, we have Quagsire. I mean, it checks Salamence, it checks Belly to Recobo, it checks Zeraora, it checks Crook, it checked Blaziken, which was in the tier, so I mean, it makes sense. Also, checking Regieleki, unless it's Specs Hyper Beam, but even then, you're basically killing your Regieleki by doing that. And into RU, we have Heracross. Reuniclus, as well as Galarian Slowbro. And again, just looking at the, I don't really need this usage stat anymore because we're done with that. And this is the old usage stat that I kind of wanted to compare. But just looking at the usage stats, Heracross is a good natural check to Zarude. Obviously, Stone Edge is strong for Togekiss too. I saw a lot of them running that too, as just like a breaker in itself. I know that Future Sight Reuniclus and Future Sight Slowbro are both very good as well, especially with what was it? Slowking missing out on the tier. Basically, if you look at the last tier shifts, you see Slowking at number 2, but Slowking is UU now, so it's not RU anymore. So that means that we've actually seen some other bulky waters take its place. We see Seismitoad right here, which also happens to be a Thunderous check, can check Dog to an extent, check Starmanitan and whatnot as well. And then we have from NU to RU as well, like Milotic also taking up place. It's pretty big for the NU tier in general because that was a pretty big staple for the tier. Same thing with Porygon in terms of defensive and also as Trick Room. And of course, Noivern slowly but surely making its way back up. It's funny to see Noivern not UU when it was like the king of UU, but it makes sense when Zarude is like top tier in RU that Noivern would be up there because it was up there back when they were both in UU. So Noivern going back up, good defogger, good offensive Pokemon as well. I think Galarian Bro is amazing, both defensively as well as offensively with the quick draw, quick claw type of thing. So nasty to see that thing move up. Makes sense. This is going to be a little bit shorter of a one though, just because I'm going to go more in depth with my buddy Eonex during the week. And I mean, how many times can I say, oh my god, crazy tier changes? I mean, the Pokemon are just going to fall. Though from PU to ZU, when we go over it, some of them, like, oh, okay, cool, I could see that there. But others is like, damn, that's a shock. That is a huge shock. But yeah, Heracross, phenomenal, Guts Breaker. I'm excited to see what it does to the tier. It's going to mess it up. And even with Crobat being, like, number 5 in the old one, and then number 8 over here, Heracross just naturally can take 1,000 arrows from Zygarde, can check Suicune as well because it doesn't care about Burnt. Fashion Togekiss. Togekiss taking the place as number 2 right behind Zarude is the best check. There's only like Rock Slide can do it, or like if you have a knock partner and then you get Stealth Rock off. Unfortunately, Zarude does not get knock off for whatever reason. I have no idea why. It has hands. What else do you need to knock something off? But especially because like it's a monkey, and I went to Florida as a kid. Oh, we were in my Honda. My Honda, yes, my Honda as a kid. Yeah, not my parents. And we went to, what was it? Something Kingdom, Animal Kingdom? I don't know, it was something like that. And these monkeys, they got on the car and they just started tearing it apart and knocking things off on top of it. So, like, Zarude can definitely do it. Zarude can for sure do it. Then again, Darmanitan can't knock off either. But, I mean, come on, Zarude at least has the slapping hands, bro. You power whipping in Darkest Lair and you could definitely knock off. So, anyway, from PU to NU, we have Golurk, Sigilyph, as well as Vileplume. Vileplume finally taking its little place as the defensive poison in the tier because Slowbro is gone. I think this is a really good check to things like Barizion in the tier and just fighters in general. It can also tech Moonblast if it really needs to. Thank you, eBay, for telling me something was delivered. I have it right here in my hand. So Vileplume makes a lot of sense. It's a good just defensive tank, and I think that it appreciates half these mons being gone / banned, specifically Noivern, and even Porygon and stuff like that too, and Milotic, because Ice Beams do eventually hurt, and you can only Strength Sap so long. But, again, I'm sorry I have to keep rotating this, but looking at the tier, look at Sylveon number 1, Vileplume, a great check to that. Mienshao number 2, Vileplume, a great check to that. Can pseudo check Capparaja if it gets Strength Sap up enough and is faster than it, so it doesn't like heat crash and stuff like that. Checks Flygon. Pseudo checks Pangoro as well. Can eat a hit and then knock it out with Moonblast if need be. So again, makes sense why that mon ended up moving up. Sigilyph as well makes sense too. Whether it's Calm Mind with Flame Orb or Air Slash, or like Life Orb with like Dazzling Gleam or Air Slash, Psychic, Heat Wave, like it breaks through Common Cores, and Psyshock does a lot to Sylveon as well. And then Golurk is another big one too, which gets some free switch-ins versus passive Pokemon like Bronzong, outspeeds Sylveon, and threatens it with Choice Band, Poltergeist that can't miss. And again, it's just another big, strong Pokemon for the tier itself. It's cool to see the PU usage stats. This looks nothing like last time. If you look at last time PU, look how much power creep has changed it. Last time, Jolteon was #1 in the PU tier. And then you have a whole bunch of babies that look like they should be PU Pokemon, besides maybe Turtonator and Drapeon, which are mons that were banned previously from NU. But then this time, Jesus, what the hell happened? You have Passimian, Roserade, Vaporeon, Exploud, Indeedee, Silvally Steel, looking like NU, Gigalith, Absol, and Duraludon. So you just got a bunch of hard hitters in the tier. And now if you look at ZU, that's exactly what's going to happen in the ZU tier as we go forward. So Pincurchin goes from ZU to PU. Assuming PU still has a Alolan Raichu, which I am going to check right now. That makes sense. But even then, like, the thing about it's RU. Thank God. I was about to say. Even then, the thing about Pincurchin is that, like, you don't need a Alolan Raichu for it to be good. You don't. You do not need a Alolan Raichu for it to be good. This Pokemon's Rising Voltage basically helps every single electric type. It does. Like, even if you're a levitating electric type like a Rotom, because it's only Rising Voltage is only doubled in power when your opponent itself is touching the ground, not you. So it's like it's different from like electric terrain itself. And in the PU tier, in terms of electric types, you have like Jolteon, you have like Galvantula. You do have Raichu Alola. What am I saying? Why did I say RU before? Yeah, you do have Raichu Alola out there. What the hell am I saying? I freaking fought that thing and it messed me up. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense why it'd be up there. It's a whole PU terrain war down there because you had Indeedee as well. So yeah, hell, that makes sense. What the hell was I talking about RU? Why the hell did the thing... Was I looking at regular Raichu? Why the hell would regular Raichu be RU? Get the hell out of here. There's no way that mon's RU. But anyway, that has to do with the terrain wars. So, from drops from UU to RU, these are some pretty big ones, and I think they're disrespectful as hell, at least with Magnezone. But Incineroar drops from UU to RU. In terms of dark types in UU right now, Crocodile is definitely better in not only just getting up rocks, and there's not only just getting up rocks, but like the ground typing is amazing for switching on Incineroar and Regieleki. A great Scarfer can knock off Earthquake, Close Combat, Moxie. Close Combat's pretty big buff for Crook too. While did lose Pursuit, has some good offensive pressure, and I think that like defensively, even though Heavy Duty Boots is such a blessing for Incineroar, it just doesn't have the power. I think the power creep is too high in UU right now for Incineroar to be amazing, and I also think that like Blacephalon gone, it's not like let's look at the old. Let's look at the old UU. This is the old UU. So this is December 1st. Blaziken smacks it. Zeraora can smack it. Como smacks it. Celesteela loses. Azu smacks it. Salamence smacks it. Lottie like half and half. Scizor, it depends because it doesn't like coming in on U-turn. Even if it's like Intimidate, it should be always Intimidate. It takes like 30%. Victini and Nidoqueen. So, and then you have the current one, which like only see a Scizor move up, Latias move down, and Regieleki type of here. But I feel like I just feel like, especially with bulky waters in that tier, even though Slowking's like one of the top bulky waters in UU, Incineroar just doesn't have the strongest place right now. Maybe if Alamolo was back and it could wish past it, maybe. But it moved down to RU, and I actually really like it in RU because it walls Darkest Lariat plus Power Whip Zarude, a nice little check to Darmanitan, a check to Crobat. Honestly, I could check a lot of Pokemon. I could check Zygarde in a pinch too. It'll live a neutral 1,000 arrows if it's defensive. So I like its role in the RU tier at least. Though I do think that if it doesn't popularize as a root check, it will fall down to NU where it will definitely thrive. Like it loves bronze on copper. It loves steel types being in the top 10, right? And just it's different than Arcanine. Arcanine is good offensively and defensively. Same thing with Incineroar, but that Intimidate plus Parting Shot shuffling is really nice too. However, Magnezone is now RU, which again is interesting because it can trap Celesteela, but even then, like Magnezone could still lose unless it's Spec. So it's funny because like it could trap Scizor and Celesteela even without Hidden Power Fire. Like I don't think Hidden Power Fire matters as much as people think. The only thing that would matter for is Ferrothorn, and they can still do sub body press right now. But the premier electric types are Zeraora and Regieleki in the tier. And with Magnezone giving free switch-ins to, especially if it goes for, like Magnezone allowing like Crocodile, Como, free attacks, Lottie as well. I don't know. It's weird, but I think it's disrespectful that it went down to the RU tier. And it's not even the best electric type in the RU tier, which is funny because you have like Thundurus, you have Xurkitree. maybe like a sub body press set could still be good. It's a good Crobat answer. I think Analytic is going to be scarier than Magnet Pull personally. Because Seismitoad, if it's physically defensive, switching into a Specs Analytic Flash Cannon, it's going to do like half. So definitely going to be scarier. Good, nice, natural Togekiss check unless it's running Aura Sphere or Flamethrower. Even that's still a decent check. Free switchings versus Galarian Weezing, free switchings versus Crobat. So I do think it's a little bit sad to see this Pokemon fall down. But just because I still think Magnezone is amazing in OU, personally, I do. And I think that Urshifu potentially being banned, Magearna / Cinderace going next, some combination of them, it's going to rise, like, Magnezone can easily rise back up to the tier. I think Magnezone's main problem right now in OU is that it doesn't beat the most common steel type, which is Magearna. Like, unless it's Specs and you came in on an Iron defense, you're not doing enough with it with Specs Thunderbolt, right? Like, if it's Combine, Pain Splitter, if it's Focus Blast Shift Gear, or if it's Specs and Flurkin does like 80% to Magnezone upon switching, so like 73, I think it's like 73% or something. Or Vulture's out, so it's not the strongest right now, but I do think that has to do with what's around. But Naru should find a decent home. Just good offensive Pokemon. From RU to NU, we have Torkoal, and we have the Drapeon. Now, Drapeon, I think, is actually a really good addition to the NU tier. Just again, that poison plus dark coverage is super strong, super strong. Has a good speed tier as well. But that poison plus dark coverage is really good. I mean, there's a reason why Pangoro is freaking amazing, because it just runs Gunk Shot, knockoff, close combat. Obviously, it's scrappy and it's way more spammable than Drapeon, so maybe that's disrespectful to. Actually, that is disrespectful to Pangoro to compare them, but I really love that typing. I think T-Spike is good too, and I just think the offensiveness and being able to just click knock and poison jab. Of course, being dark and poison, you're neutral to Hyper Voice, so you are 2-hit KO by Sylveons. Even if it's like defensive Sylveon, you're 2-hit KO. If it's offensive, you die. But you're 2-hit KO'd by defensive Sylveon. So that's something to worry about as well for this Pokemon. But I'm excited to see if it actually ends up, finding its plays. I feel like Drapeon's a good balanced Pokemon, good T-Spike, good knockoff, can taunt, decent stall breaker in a sense like that. So it's a Pokemon that can definitely find its place. I think losing Pursuit is the biggest thing for it, right? Like, it used to be able to Pursuit trap Mons like Bronzong or even freaking Salazzle and things like that as well. Now, Torkoal, I don't think matters because Drought is banned in the NU tier. Drought is just completely banned. So I don't think Torkoal mattering is going to make a difference in NU. In fact, I think Torkoal's just going to fall down. You're not trying to use White Smoke or Shell Armor unless you're like maybe using a Shell Smash set. So it doesn't really. Like, Torkoal's just going to keep going down. Probably PU/ZU as it keeps going. It'll probably go down again to PU as well, because if Drought is banned in NU, it's banned in PU too. So Torkoal's a Pokemon you're probably just going to end up seeing down in the ZU tier. And as the ZU tier finds itself, like look at ZU right here. My next number, you have Ninetales right here, number 6. Why would I use Torkoal over Ninetales, especially if I can't use Drought? Like, at least Ninetales gives me Nasty Plot and the immediate speed as a great speed tier for everything. So I think you'll find Torkoal down there. However, the at least like for the current NU, it's not going to make a difference. And I'm just trying to check real quick if Drought is also banned in RU, which I feel like, oh, okay, so Drought isn't banned in RU from what it looks like. So you could still see Torkoal seeing some random usage in the RU tier itself. Surprised Sun is so bad, but I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that like Politoed for a bit was what's it called? It was allowed in the RU tier, and you could use like, or at least NU. I know Rain was allowed back then in NU as well. So it's not like something that is. Let me check this right now. Okay, cool. So Drizzle's still allowed in RU as well. So that's something just to keep in mind. Rain is still allowed in the RU tier, as far as I'm looking at it right here. It says that it's legal. So that's also my Seismitoad will move up too. But in terms of the NU tier as well, yeah, they did recently ban Drizzle. Okay, good. Thank God. That was way too much. But yeah, so I don't even know if Torkoal would even move up, even though Sun is allowed in RU. RU does have some really good Sun abusers. Actually, they all fell down. They all freaking fell all the way down the damn tier. And there's no Venusaur, which I think is the big thing. Like, there's no Venusaur in the current RU tier because it's RUBL. So that makes some slightly worse, but you have like mons like Shift Tree and stuff like that too. So PU to ZUBL, Ludicolo, I think that's Silvally Electric, and Thwackey. I like how Thwackey was like a top mon in ZU, but like, can you really use Thwackey when you're freaking competing with Indeedee, Exploud, Roserade, Passimian, Silvally Steel, Talonflame? Like, this isn't freaking PU anymore, bro. This is like NU / borderline RU of previous generations. So Thwackey definitely doesn't have the strongest position, and I guess it's too good for ZU. Maybe they'll retest it in ZU. I don't think Ludicolo is busted if it clicks Rain Dance currently. Just looking at the ZU tier, you have Hail that can auto start. You have freaking Ditto finally in its tier. Dino, defensively you have a Dino, you have multiple Hail users as well. You have Thick Fat, Special Defensive Miltank. Poliwrath is another rain abuser as well. Actually, I know, didn't PU like ban? It was either PU or ZU that banned like some Damp Rock. I don't know if they actually allowed it again. But Silvally Electric, I don't even know how that's going to make a difference when it comes to PU. I don't think Silvally Electric is a good one. I think Silvally Steel is really good. Again, just a natural Roserade answer too. I like that Roserade is number 4 in usage, and Roserade doesn't have any coverage this generation. Like, it doesn't have its hidden power coverage, though it can do Weather Ball, which is really cool. Like, Weather Ball Rock with Gigalith could be cool for catching Talonflame, even though Talonflame gets 2K by Sludge Bomb anyway, and 30% chance to poison. But I love that Roserade is up there, so as an offensive spiker. Like, I like that a lot. And I like that you see like 2 good steals. You see the NU, the old good steals at NU and Silvally Steel and Duraludon, because NU had like no steals back in the day. In terms of like the scary Pokemon that actually stick out to me in ZU, Alolan Eggy. I don't think that's something that'll stay there for too long. Just Trick Room plus Draco or Specs. Frostmoth as well. This is a really good tier for that, especially because the tier as you go lower and lower. So let's just even look at ZU, right? Let's look at the ZU tier. I'll look at it right now on the side. In terms of steel types in the ZU tier, I'm going. Keep going. Jesus, this Clink Clank. I found Clink Clank. Oh, I think they allowed Ludicolo as well. I think they actually unlocked them all because I see Ludicolo on this list as well. So, in terms of steel, Melton. Oh my God, I forgot you were a Pokemon. Holy crap, Berserker as well. So like, and then I guess in terms of like ice switchings, you have like Regice, which could do it. Honestly, Regice could easily do it too, because Regice could tech Rock Slide. I know that sounds really stupid, but you could tech Rock Slide on it. It's only 50. It has 50 attack, but that'd be interesting to see like Heavy Duty Boots, Rock Slide, Regice go up and or be used as a Frost Moth counter or as a Frost Moth answer. And then you have like Magmortar as well. Oh, Magneton too, another crazy one to see in the ZU tier. In terms of what Magneton can trap, not as much. I mean, Clink Clank is a pretty big one. If like Violet could trap that too. So you have Magneton down here. Gallade and Garbodor also, I think, hella disrespectful as well for the tier. Garbodor, excellent spiker. Freaking Clawitzer is gonna have like no switch-ins as it usually does. Like, that's the thing. Like, even though these mons have no switch-ins, because the power creep has been so crazy, like going up. Like, again, look at the PU right here. This is not the PU we've ever known. But this is why mons like even Clawitzer still looks really good here. Why would I use Specs Clawitzer over Specs Indeedee or Specs Exploud or Specs Duraludon? Like, Boom Burst is way more spammable. I like that Gigalith is really good because of that. But yeah, so then you also have regular Eggy here too. So some Pseudo Trick Room could be really good. I like the Vibe back in its tier. We have Quillfish and Piloswine. Piloswine, one of my favorite stealth rockers all around. I like that Persian provides defensive utility against a lot of these threats with Foul Play and Heavy Duty Boots plus Parting Shot. Almastar, I think any Shell Smasher is super scary, especially in lower tiers. Shell Smash Meteor Beam just looks stupid good. We have the ability to run Sticky Web, which is cool. Scrafty moves back down as well. Same thing with, I believe, where are you? I was just looking at you. Sock. There you are. So Sock down here too. So this is really starting to look like old NU. Like NU when I played it as well, because you see Vanillix, Wishy-Washy, and Vikavolt mons that were top tier during the NU tier. You see Toxicroak, which got banned Olive Armor, NU as well. Turtonator, I think the Shell Smashers are always going to be too much, like I said. So I think that Almastar, Turtonator, those are just going to be Pokemon that just end up being way too much. Because even like looking at the tier, Stealth Rock Up, not too much can Revenge Kill them, period. And that Meteor Beam set, I think is the big one as well. Like, it doesn't have to Shell Smash to be a threat. Like, or if I Shell Smash into Meteor Beam, I'm going to kill something like Jellicent too that can check it. So I think those are mons that might eventually get looked at. Or Feral Seed has a high, Feral Seed has a ridiculously high amount of usage because Almastar is a threat. But then even Turtonator is way too much. You have the I don't know if Aurora Veil is banned in this tier. Like, this is why I don't talk too much about like these tiers in particular, but this is more familiar to me in terms of what they're using. But let me see if Aurora Veil is banned. I'll put Aurora Veil right here and just some random EVs on my Pokemon so it lets me check. And then we are looking at the ZU tier. Aurora Veil is banned. Okay, so there's no chance of them using Aurora Veil, but that, I mean, with no Gigalith in this tier and no other weather, I see 1, 2, 3 crazy spammable mons. Even freaking Rotom plus Vanillix sounds nasty. So I'm assuming on like bulkier teams, Palisade will have a place more so than Rhydon, just because it actually resists ice. Unless they're running Rhydon plus Miltank. Because again, with the lack of steals in this tier 2, because there's a huge lack of steals, Vanillix just seems super overwhelming. Even with like Colossal and Centiskorn, even with like decent fire types that run boots and stuff like that. You'll see Rapidash as a check on offense, or even just max HP Rapidash, but even then that's not the best switch in because it gets chipped by Blizzard, gets chipped by Hail, and then its Morning Sun is cut in half, you know, because of the fact that Hail is up. Whole bunch of Silvally forms. Offensive Silvallis look nasty. I like Dragon Silvally a lot. Another mon that completely stands out above the rest, I think, is Lycanroc, with the addition of close combat, how fast it is and whatnot, and the fact that Sand isn't banned. Like, imagine just a little Hippopotas. Let me look at a little Hippopotas down here, running whatever it wants. Just make sure. And then you have like abusers like a Alolan Dugtrio, Lycanroc, and Sandslash. So Sand might be something that we see, but the thing about running Sand is that you're auto weak to freaking Vanillix, man. That's it. Only Lycanroc like hell. Like even then, you have no switching. So if Hippowdon's in, or Hippopotas is in, I'm gonna still click Raw Blizzard, and I'll kill you 70% of the time. I love Wishy-Washy. I love Tank Wishy-Washy. Though it's like not the strongest, it's still good. Like, if you don't have a Jellicent, you don't really have too many switch-ins in this tier. Vicodin as well looks incredibly nasty with the Bug Buzz plus Sticky Web support. Rhydon plus Webs looks crazy too. Nasty Pot Thievel. I don't know if Pheasant's going to be wild down here. I don't think so. But I could be wrong considering the lack of steals and Scope Lens, Brave Bird always critting. Or not always, but like, what is that, 50% or something like that? Because of Super Luck as well. Well, Super Luck with Scope Lens, what am I even saying? Like, that's just, yeah, wow. That freaking bring me random battle flashbacks when it comes to that. Holy crap. I like Morpeko. I like Morpeko too. Not a huge lack of like the Aura Wheel just choice band, I think looks really good. Not too many strong, I mean, like, there are strong ground types, but they're not Pokemon that really take like Seed Bombs and Aura Wheels when it's the right typing as well. Palisand, nice little defensive capabilities there. Again, I'm just like going through and just giving general thoughts. I will have some more in-depth stuff, but just looking at what like pops out. Malamar looks a little bit scary too. Good, like, just overall. Yeah, actually, Malamar looks really good, especially because the U-turners aren't the strongest. I think a Selgor is going to be a top spiker, but as well as offensive threat in the tier 2, because like offensive spikes plus final game, or just like strong Bug Buzz in general, being faster than base 80, like base 80s as well, is really nice for that mon. Can't see weather being that huge besides like just the Blizzard spam. Yeah, I think the ice types are going to be nasty. This is definitely a tier for ice types. Then you have Tauros. Tauros has a phenomenal speed tier, good stats as well. So I think we'll see like some bans for sure. I cannot see any of these mons like there's a good chunk of mons here that I was like, wow, how the hell are you in this tier? So I think we'll definitely see some bans. I do think that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe I'm just like being a little bit too like maybe previous maybe previous power the power shift and the scaling is kind of like making me overlook things, but offensive ice types like Vanillix look stupid good. And then you have Drampa, which has no switch. Shell Smashers look ridiculously good. Vikavolt looks like it has no switch-ins either. I think it's going to be a nasty tier, man. It's going to be nasty. This is looking a lot. This is looking close. And then Frostmoth, I think looks very scary too. But I do think you can use unique mons. And I guess that if you play your Centiskorch as well, Centiskorch gets hurricaned. But if you play like your Colossal, well, it should be okay. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. I'm actually excited to play ZU. I'll probably be playing some ZU this week. If you guys want to leave some teams, leave them on my Smogon profile. Definitely disrespectful to see Magnezone right here. I think this is still a really good OU Pokemon that we'll be seeing eventually move up. And the Shell Smashers, again, are just like crazy. They just like call out as well. I didn't even mention like Scrafty could probably run like Chopper Berry and just bulk up and kill everything as well. As something like Girder. But thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. I just want to have a quick little rundown on overall on this. I think I need to play the metagame because right now I'm like conflicted because this looks a lot like the NU that I played in the Isle of Armor with some mons that got banned from it and then some mons that we never saw in it either. So let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.